Hey, it's Chris with the Mode Designs team, and this is the brew guide for our first coffee collaboration, which is with none other than Onyx Coffee Labs. For this first coffee, we're bringing you a very popular Onyx blend that emphasizes sweet caramelized sugars, a round, full body, and a bright citrusy finish that leaves a clean, refreshing aftertaste. It pairs very well with both dairy and non-dairy milks, and we'll show you how to brew it for both filter and espresso. So here at the Mode HQ, this is how we've been brewing this delicious blend. So starting with filter, we're going to be brewing with a Hario V60. For our brew method, we turn to none other than the patron saint of coffee himself, James Hoffman, following a very similar technique to his ultimate V60 tutorial. This recipe should translate relatively well to other brewers. I'd simply adjust your grind size to have your final drawdown time somewhat similar to what we get here. For this brew, you'll also want a gooseneck kettle, preferably with variable temperature control, a good scale, a timer, and of course, a good grinder. We are going to be using a Comandante C40 and our grind size is about 19 clicks for a 2-cup brew, and I would probably go a touch finer for a 1-cup brew. To start, set your kettle to 96 degrees Celsius or about 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Alternatively, you can also use a kettle fresh off of a boil. So while the kettle's heating up, we're going to dose out our 32 grams of coffee and use a total of about 500 grams of water for a 2-cup brew. Alright, so once your water has come up to temp, you want to rinse your paper filter and brewer over your carafe. This is going to help preheat everything and keep your coffee nice and hot. So once that's rinsed, I'll also use the same rinse water to also heat up my actual cup. Now you can add in your ground 32 gram dose and make a little divot in your bed of coffee. This is going to help make sure that your coffee is fully saturated during the bloom stage. Now you can tear out your scale and start your timer. Pour about 60 grams of water to bloom, then give the coffee a little swirl. At the 30-second mark, we want to then start pouring in circles over the next 30 seconds until we reach about 300 grams of water. That's a roughly 8 gram per second rate of pouring. Now once we're at about a minute to a minute 15 seconds, we're going to pour our remaining 200 grams of water in a slightly slower rate to hit our targeted 500 grams by about a minute 45. And once you finish that last pour, you can grab a spoon or a brew stick and give your coffee a stir clockwise and then counterclockwise to help knock off any grounds on the side for an even flat bed. You want to aim to have your coffee draw down by about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. If it's too long, your coffee can be a little harsher, a little more stringent and bitter, and if your drawdown is too fast, your coffee is going to taste weak, tart, and possibly overly acidic. A properly extracted cup of this coffee is going to be sweet, fruity, enjoyable, with a rich, full-bodied mouthfeel. Alright, so our final drawdown here is just over 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and we should have a delicious cup of coffee. So that is a really good cup. It's really nice and sweet, it's got a good level of clarity to it, it's got a rich, full-bodied mouthfeel, and you really get a nice, refreshing, citrusy sort of aftertaste. So now, let's move on to brewing for espresso. Now personally, 9 times out of 10, I am drinking an espresso-based milky drink in the morning, like a flat white, cappuccino, or some kind of latte. And this blend is perfect on its own, or blended into a milky drink. If properly extracted, tasting notes here should be a creamy milk chocolate, plum, sweet candied walnut, and have a juicy citric finish. If you have a traditional E61 pump machine, I'd recommend a pretty standard 1:2 ratio recipe in about 28 seconds, meaning we would recommend an 18 gram dose with about a 36 gram yield in about 28 seconds from starting the shot. But here at the Mode HQ, we've also got our very own lever machine. So I'm going to be using this Profitec Pro 800, which is a semi-automatic spring lever espresso machine, which provides a little bit of a different shot profile. For this shot, I'm going to use 18 grams of beans at an espresso fine grind to about a 40 gram yield in up to 30 seconds. Being a spring lever machine, it is a little bit more forgiving than your traditional E61 pump machines. So once the portafilter is prepped, I'm going to top it off with a little puck screen and lock it in. Then I'm going to gently lower the lever and hold it at the bottom for about 5 seconds to let the puck get some soft pre-infusion. After that, I'm going to gently raise the lever until I feel some resistance and let go, allowing the spring to do the work. With a lever espresso machine, the pressure starts at around standard 9 bars and slowly ramps down as the shot finishes. Once you reach about 40 grams out, I'm going to slide the cup out of the way and we're ready to taste. And that's already really good, but since I do like my milky drinks, I'm going to turn this into a little flat white. And there we go. We have a delicious and fruity and full-bodied cup of coffee that's comforting and enjoyable for the colder winter weather, and a delicious shot of espresso that doubles as a great base for a milky drink. For our first coffee collaboration, we couldn't be happier to partner with Onyx Coffee Labs, and we know you're going to enjoy this coffee. These beans are only available in a very limited quantity, so head over to modedesigns.com and pick one up today before they sell out, and happy brewing.